I was born in Leeuwarden, north part of Holland, Friesland, in 1946. Birth certificate says the 30th of November, but there's a little story there because my mum lost a cousin during the Second World War. He was born on the 30th of November, and she wanted me to be born on that same day, but I was actually about 11:30 on the 29th. So yeah, but she put me down on the 30th anyhow, so that was it. And yeah, spent just over 5 years in Holland, and then we emigrated in 1952 to Australia. Well, I go by the name of Fred Runia now, but my actual birth name was Fritz. And as one of my friends calls me, Fritzl, every now and then, I had to change it back in when I was living in South Australia, I go by Fred, yeah. Set off from Rotterdam in Holland. Arrived in Australia in Melbourne in July of '52. We ended up going to South Australia, where a farmer had sponsored us to his place to work on the farm. And my dad and my mum and my brother. And we were there on that farm for about a year. But Dad wasn't a farmer, he was a gardener, and he loved his gardening, that sort of stuff. So we ended up moving to a place just outside of Mount Gambier, where he worked on the railways for a little bit of a time, and then got a job with a new primary school to do all the gardens and plant all the trees and all those, that sort of stuff. And he was much happier then, of course, and also got the contract to clean the school with my mum. And but unfortunately, he passed away when I was 10 years of age, so I didn't get to know my dad that well, really, unfortunately. But yeah, there were some memories of our time there in Mount Gambier, and weekends spent going out packing or digging up for onions and digging up potatoes and bagging them and all that sort of stuff. So we did a bit of that, and yeah. So I really didn't get to know him that well, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah, my mum cleaned the school for that time, and then we got another one, a school a bit closer to where we lived in Mount Gambier, East Gambier Primary School, where I went to school as a kid. And she was cleaning the school, and part of my role, I guess too, after Dad died, was to help clean the school before and after my schooling, and when I went to high school in Mount Gambier as well for a couple of years. So yeah, she was a bloody hard worker, really. That's for sure. And it was difficult times for her, of course, during that time. But we managed to get through, and my brother was working as a carpenter or a labourer, builder's labourer, for a period of time. And when I was about 15, he wanted to move to Sydney for work, and my mum and I we followed as well and went to Sydney back in when I was about 15 or so. Well, I went to primary school in Mount Gambier, and I did nearly 3 years of high school in Mount Gambier. As I told the story to my children, I used to ride my bike to school through hail, rain, sleet, snow, 40-degree temperatures. They never believed me, but we did go back and have a look, and I said, "That wasn't that far, Dad." Yeah. I said, "Well, I was only a kid." So yeah. That was one of the stories, but no girlfriends at that time. Went to Sydney, had to finish off my 3rd year high school, get through that, and yeah, then went to work, 16. My first job, leaving school in Sydney, was working at a scrap metal yard. It wasn't very long, probably 6 months or so, I think. Then I managed to get a job with a wool buying company as a clerical position, going out with the buyer to to the wool stores where he classified the wool, then going to the sales and penciling for him there, and did that for a few years. I was probably about 19, I think, when I got another job with a company called Corinthian Joinery, and they were a door manufacturer, the biggest door manufacturer in the Southern Hemisphere. And yeah, so got a job with them, and I was about to turn 21, and my boss said to me, "We need you to go to Melbourne for 6 months to set up all the systems in their new office in Melbourne. And I thought, when do you want me to go? And they said, Monday. I said, Monday? I've got my 21st coming up in 2 weeks' time. I need to get back for that. And they said, yeah, that's okay. We'll get you back on the train. I said, okay. And I came back for my 21st, celebrated that in Sydney with my friends that I'd made. I had a number of friends, which I was very lucky to do. Yeah, I worked with that company for a little while, about 2 years, probably 3 years, and then a couple of the guys that I worked with went in opposition to that company, to Corinthian, and I got to tell the story. My boss wasn't happy that I was still friends with them, actually, and I wasn't happy that they actually challenged me and said, "You're still friends with the guys from this company?" I said, "Yeah, I am." And I said, "Have you got a problem with that?" And they said, "Well, they are opposition." I said, "Well, yeah, I know they are, but they're my friends, and it doesn't seem like you're very happy that I'm friends with them. So I'll go back to my desk and write out my resignation right now, and then you can have it within half an hour, and I'll give my notice," which I did, and left them. I went and joined and worked with my friends in the opposition company for a year or so. And then we started off something else, another business, and doing brick cladding on houses, imitation brick cladding on houses, and yeah, that didn't go that well. But I also met Josie through some mutual friends of ours, and she was living in Geelong, and yeah, they got us together, and yeah, didn't hit it off straight away, but we did eventually, and that was back in about 1970, 71, and she was living in Geelong. So an opportunity came up for me to move to Geelong when she had one of the girls that was working for her as a subcontractor. She was managing a courier business for a Melbourne company in Geelong, and this lady, her husband had had a heart attack, and he was doing the Herald newspaper run from Melbourne to Geelong, and she asked if I was interested in doing that run, and yeah, that's what I did. Got myself a truck licence and started doing the Herald newspaper run, plus the other part of the business was waste paper collection from various scouting groups and that sort of stuff, and we eventually bought that business off them, and while Josie was still managing the courier business. So that was good fun. I really enjoyed my driving, and loved that sort of part of my life. We had 2 kids in the meantime as well. But Tammy was born in 1972. Josie had already had 3 children beforehand from a previous marriage. But we all got on pretty well together during that time, so that was good fun. And yeah, Tammy was born in 72, and then Chris was born about 5 years later. So during that time, that was hard work. And in 1974, the company Joseph was working for sold out, and the new owners came down and said we were closing the Geelong branch down. So what are we going to do? Wow. So we set about talking to the clients of the company, talking to the staff, talking to the suppliers, and everybody that we spoke to had backed us to start the business on our own, which we did in 74. I think it was, yeah, October 74. And we came up with a name through one of the clients, one of the customers, and said, well, you should call it Josie's, because every time we need something urgent picked up in Melbourne, we said, just ring Josie, she'll get it for us. And that's how we came up with the name Josie's Transport back in then. Yeah, we started the business in 74, but we had moved to out of Geelong to Lara, where Tammy and Chris were born, and Josie's other 3 children. We lived out there. We lived on a 5-acre property for a while. We rented. And then the first house we bought, would have been about 1973, yeah, somewhere about that. We paid about $15,500 for it. So you can imagine what the place would be worth now. But yeah, it was a basic house, and yeah, it was good. We did a lot of renovations on it and built it up, and that was a lot of fun. And of course, then we started the business off actually from our sunroom at the house where we lived in Lara. We with a card table and two-way radio system, phones. Pretty basic to start the business off, and then we moved it into a bungalow we had at the back. Set that up as an office with a couple of girls working in there as well, staff. And then a few years later, we came across another premises which we rented for a while. And the business just kept growing, really. We weren't expecting it to grow the way it did, but it did, and we're pretty fortunate that two of Josie's boys actually worked in the business with us. Then we ended up buying some property and then building an office and warehouse on that property. Yeah, date-wise, I sort of can't remember all the dates, but yeah, and as I say, the business just grew and grew and grew. Yeah, well, look, our times in Lara, I've got to say, were fantastic. The kids growing up there, two of Josie's boys, Phil and Pat, played football at Lara. They didn't play cricket, but they were great times. I got on the committee of the football club, local footy club, and yeah, then I became president of the sporting club for a number of years. We built new club rooms. They were all pretty exciting times. Met a lot of friends, a lot of people that I catch up with every now and then. Chris was, I've got to say, became a cricketer more so. He was pretty good at footy as well, but probably a better cricketer, and loved his cricket. And I probably really got into cricket when my good friend now, Mick Brotherwick, came and joined us and played cricket at Lara. So that was his exciting time. But how I got to know Mick was actually through his father. I remember back in 82, 83 Ashes season, and Josie got a phone call from Mick's father, Terry, to say he was in Melbourne playing cricket, and what was it, the Nottingham Flanellers, I think they were called. They were all over 50s or whatever they were, and rang up and said, "Is there any chance I can come down and have Christmas lunch?" And Josie said, "Of course, fantastic." So I got on the phone to Terry. I said, "Look, just catch the train to Lara, and there's a pub across the road, and I'll be there and I'll meet you and wait for you at the pub." And okay. Now, I've never met Terry before, didn't know what he looked like, and I'm standing at the window having a beer with a couple of mates on Christmas morning, and I see this guy walking across from the station and in a grey suit, collar and tie, Christmas Day in Australia, 35 degrees, got to be a Pom from England. And it was Terry, so that was my first meeting with him. Had a beer with him at the pub, introduced him to a few people there, and went back home, got his suit off, into his shorts and t-shirt, sat under the jacaranda tree at home, which is a beautiful jacaranda tree, and with a couple of beers, and he was in his element, and he just loved it. Yeah, that was, so that was my first meeting with Mick's dad, Terry, and wonderful. And yeah, we remained friends for forever after that, really. And of course, then going over to meet the rest of the family. Yeah, the following year was '84 when I took my mum back to Holland, and I said to Josie, we had a chat before we left, and the possibility of going across to England for a week or so. I took Mum back to Holland. She hadn't been back at all since we arrived in '52. And it's fantastic being able to catch up with all my aunties and uncles, you know, her brothers and sisters and my cousins, and we had an amazing time there, really. But I did decide to go across to England to catch up and meet up with well, actually it was Josie's brother-in-law, ex-brother-in-law, who I stayed with for a couple of weeks, but I also caught up with Terry and his family. They were amazing. I loved England. I fell in love with England the first time I went there. It was great. I liked Holland as well, but I loved England too. Yeah, that was, I think, my first real getting into travel, and I've got to say I loved travelling after that. And we did quite a lot of it, which was great. Yeah, luckily in '85, I yeah, also made a decision to go over to take Tammy and Chris to Holland, and then over to England as well. Yeah, that was a fabulous time in Holland and England. And then, yeah, we've also, I did play a bit of a trick on Tammy and Chris, because we went to Wales to catch up with one of Josie's cousins, a couple of Josie's cousins actually. And after leaving Wales, I said to Tammy and Chris, I said, we're leaving from Heathrow in a couple of weeks' time. Let's just go and check it out and see where we depart from, because I've got no idea. And I said, well, why would we want to do that? We know what an airport's like. I said, well, no, let's do it. Let's go. Okay. Oh, okay. Anyhow, we went to Heathrow, parked the car, looked at the departure area. That was easy. Then went to the arrivals area, and we said, Tammy and Chris said, what are we doing here? I said, I'm just having a look around. Anyhow, Josie's flight came in, and Josie came off through customs, and I said, guys, have a look. This is the reason we're here. Your mum's just arrived. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit teary about that. But yeah, the looks on their faces were just amazing, really. So she made the effort to come over and spend a few weeks with us in England, and which we did, and we travelled around, and she caught up with you guys and her, you know, all her relations as well, which was fantastic to do that. And then and she flew home after that, and then Tammy and Chris and I flew back via Disneyland, actually. I took them to Disneyland, and we had a day there, and then came home. That was, I guess, the start of their love of travel as well. Yeah, that was one of the most amazing trips I've ever had, really. Yeah, that was great. Another time we went to England was Tammy decided that she wanted to go to England with a couple of her girlfriends, and she had met a fella called Dave, who became a bit of a boyfriend, sort of, who went overseas, and I think it was one of the reasons why she decided that she wanted to go to England with her girlfriends. So she had a sort of pseudo 21st here at home. We did all that, and then Josie and I decided that we should surprise her for her 21st in England, in Nottingham. So we contacted Mick and Emily, and I said, we're coming over. We want to be there for her 21st, so, and it was going to be a surprise. But I think, unfortunately, Mick had let the cat out of the bag a bit about the cricket, because there was a test match being played at Trent Bridge on that particular time when we were going there. And I think he talked about me coming over for the cricket, for the test match, an Ashes test match. And but we pretty much made it a surprise. I think I saw, I can remember Josie saying she saw Tammy pushing a car up the hill to come to this pub for a birthday, and so it was Josie, and her mum came over as well, Lil. Josie, Lil and Chris were up in the room upstairs to the hotel watching her pushing this car up the hill, which had broken down. So, and I was hiding behind the door in this pub where we sat. I can't remember the name of the pub now. It was the Royal, I think, was it? I think it was the Royal. Yeah. Anyhow, so anyhow, she came through the door, and I surprised her, and I said, "Hi, Tammy, happy 21st," and all that stuff. And she said, "You mentioned something." She said, "I think I had an idea you might be coming." And I said, "Yeah, okay, well, you've got another surprise coming as well." So Josie and her mum and Chris came through the door, and yeah, that was another amazing night. I'm very lucky. I've had some great, absolute great times, fantastic times. So, yeah, and as I say, love of England. I've been there, got a number of times now, and love catching up with everybody. Fantastic. Yeah, okay. When I first met Josie, through some mutual friends, of course. Yeah, she had 3 children from a previous marriage, Jackie, Philip and Pat. And yeah, that was, I guess, a little bit daunting for me for a start, but honestly, they became part of my family. They made a decision to take my name, which I was very proud of at that time, I've got to say that. And of course, Phil and Pat were pretty heavily involved in the business. We started back in '74, and they worked really, extremely hard. And Jacqueline herself was just an amazing part. How she helped, Josie especially and me, and look how she's become probably one of my best friends in reality. I've got to say, and she married Michael and had a couple of boys, and Jared and Alistair, and Phil married and had a couple of boys as well, Kane and Lincoln, and Pat married. He never got married, but he had a boy called Ashley. So yeah, pretty big family in the finish. Josie and I had, and the whole family, we had some wonderful times together. Unfortunately, back in it was 91, and Josie started having some health problems, and yeah, she went through. Well, probably we thought she might have had a stroke, but that was sort of discounted. But yeah, eventually found out she had some heart problems, and she needed a valve replacement. So we had to go through that with open heart surgery, and then not long after that, the valve sort of got infected, and she had to go through it again. And yeah, some other serious health problems came up. She had a brain tumour, which had required surgery, and yeah, look, there were some difficult times, really. Yeah, 3 lots of open heart surgeries she ended up having. Some bowel surgery, brain surgery, and all that time. But we did manage a trip to England during that time, which was, we managed to get that in, and yeah, and unfortunately, yeah, through in 2005, she passed away. Unfortunate circumstances, and yeah, a difficult time for the whole family, really. But I've got to say, I was lucky having the family around, and Jackie was, once again, just amazing during that time, and Tammy and Chris and the boys, Phil and Pat. Just yeah, we got through that. And yeah, but '05 I did go back after she passed away to go and visit all her family. Yeah, that was a pretty special part as well, doing that, because yeah, it was something I felt I needed to do, so, which I did do. Yeah, things just rolled along. Family was growing, of course, grandkids, and yeah, even great grandkids over the last few years. From when Jared had Jackie's boy Jared had 2 little girls over the time, and Alistair as well had 2 girls, so 4 great grandchildren now. 2 beautiful, beautiful kids. Yeah, Tammy. Well, she's now living up near Bright. She got married in Geelong, and now she's had 3 children, 3 great children, Max, Gus, and Emma, and they're living up a place, as I say, near Bright. Kids are going to, well, now they're all going to the same high school, the 3 of them, which is fantastic. Yeah. And Chris has got 2 daughters, Rebecca and Sarah. Rebecca's working in the health industry, and Sarah's looking after a bit of aged care and that sort of stuff she's doing. So they're all going pretty well, which is fantastic. Yeah, things went along. Business was going very well, but I was starting to get to the stage where I thought it's time to sell. Same sort of thing happened to me again, where I said earlier on that Jose and I met through mutual friends. The same thing happened when I met Fran through some mutual friends, and who were trying to get us together for quite some time. And yeah, I kept saying, no, I'm not interested. And then one Friday night, when I'd been out for lunch with a few mates, and I'd had a few drinks, and I said, you know, one of these mutual friends said, I'm going to bring Fran up to the pub that we go to, the Diggers, on Friday night. And I said, oh, please don't do that, because I'll probably have a few drinks on Friday lunch, and I don't think it's a good idea. And now she did bring Fran up to the pub, and we met. And it's about 14 years ago, I suppose now. We've been together ever since, and she's got a great family of 5 kids, 10 grandchildren. So between us, we've got a hell of a crowd, really. But she's a lovely, lovely lady, and we just we get on pretty damn well together, and we've had some great adventures together as well. And a fair bit of travelling together, and it's just a great relationship. So I'm very lucky person. So. Last year we, Fran and I decided that we were going to go over to England, and we were going to catch up with the 2 other couples that we met on a cruise going back quite a few years ago, and so we said, well, let's go to England first, and then we'll fly down to Barcelona. But as time went on, Chris and his partner Lisa said, oh, I think we'll come and join you over there. So that was great. Then Tammy said, when her 3 children, said, I think we'll come and join you over there as well. And Jackie, the eldest daughter, who'd never been to England before, back to England, she was born in England, had never been back, so she decided that she's coming over there as well. So we were very fortunate to have about 4 or 5 days in London, a couple of days in Wales, and about 5 days in Nottingham and staying with Nick and Karen and the family in Papplewick, yeah, and going to the Griffin Hotel as well. But Tammy was very fortunate to be able to take her 3 children to Holland and catch up with some of my family there. Also to Paris. What a great experience it was for those 3 kids to do all that. And yeah, that was another exciting time to be able to spend some time with them. Going to Nottingham Forest and things like that. Yeah. where I used to love Nottingham Forest. Sherwood Forest, I should say, not Nottingham. Sherwood Forest. What a great place. So the kids had a wonderful time too, and then Fran and I continued on and flew to Barcelona and did a cruise and caught up with 2 couples that we'd met before and had a wonderful cruise with them. And then a couple of weeks of travel around Switzerland. Amazing. And yeah, that was an amazing trip. So wish we could hopefully do some more of that. It'd be great. I'm very fortunate that I've stayed pretty fit and healthy. I'm not sure about how fit I am, but reasonably healthy. And so we've done a fair bit of travelling, and I love travelling. But I thought retirement at 71 was going to be good, and I got bored pretty quickly. Really, I didn't last probably 6, 7, 8 months or something like that. And I thought, what am I going to do with myself? And I don't want to just sit around, because we've got a house that we don't have to do a lot of work in, and I don't want to sit around watching television. I'm probably not that much of a keen golfer. Don't play lawn bowls, don't go fishing. What am I going to do with myself? And then I was out for lunch with a couple of friends of mine on a Friday, and one of the guys is an Uber driver. And we were chatting about it, and he said, why don't you take up Uber driving? I said, oh no, what do I want to do that for? Anyhow, I decided to have a go at it. And I've got to say, I got a stage where I couldn't get out of the car. I just loved it so much. It's got to be one of the things that I enjoy so much. And I think Fran realised it, and she understands what I'm doing, and I think she's quite happy that I'm out of her hair. I get out and do a bit of Uber driving, and she can pot around and do what she wants to do, and go to the gym and all that sort of stuff, and catch up with the family too. So yeah, it works pretty well with both of us. I love it. So, but yeah, I hope to do a bit more travelling. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future, I guess. Yeah. A few more road trips maybe, that sort of stuff, up to Queensland. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. Okay, yeah. I never thought I'd be doing something like this, talking to a camera, I guess, at my age, but I guess I'm maybe leaving a little bit of a legacy about my life. I was actually talked into this by Mick and Karen's daughter, Egan, who loves doing this sort of stuff, and I thought about it. Do I really want to do it? But yeah, I'm glad. I think I'm glad I have done what I've done so far. And if my children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren ever see this, hopefully it's maybe given them a bit more of a story about me, about Josie, about Fran, about our lives, all that stuff. And if I go and leave them with something that hopefully they can look back and see what my life's been like, and all I can say about the future, I just hope that they all work hard, learn a lot, have a great time, enjoy their lives, and just be happy. That's all I can say. My name's Fred Runia. In the past I was called Fritz, of course, and you know the reasons why I had to change it. Actually, I've got to say the actual reason was, living in South Australia, the people in South Australia call their meat roll, whatever they call it, Fritz. And I got a bit of bullying from some of the kids at school and say, Fritz, meat, and I thought, I can't have that name, so I changed it to Fred. Anyhow, so that's my life. I've enjoyed it, and I'm going to continue enjoying it.